Okay, this is take two. My name is Adam, and I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all times. And sometimes I forget to press the record button, and I have like a beautiful rant about a movie. Yeah, so yesterday I watched Ran, the 1985 Kurosawa film that stars Tatsuya Nakadai, Akira Terao, Jinpachi Nezu, Daisuke Ryu, and Mieko Harada. And so Ran means chaos or tumult. And the movie is basically a Japanified version of King Lear. So there's this old warlord, and he decides that he's going to retire, and he's going to leave his, maybe not kingdom, but his like area that he has managed to control over the years to his older son. And like in King Lear, they have a meeting about this, and one of the sons says, like, this is crazy, this is a really bad idea. And because he is too brutally honest, the father exiles him. So that's the original sin of the movie, right? But in in connection to that story about the warlord, um, you know, and the ingratitude of his children, which is lifted from King Lear, you also have this story of revenge. Because, unlike in King Lear, where the characters don't actually have much of a past, this warlord guy was brutal. He killed a lot of people, and he destroyed one clan, and he left the daughter of the lord alive and forced her to marry his son, which is also a bit crazy. So the second story is about her quest for revenge. And in the beginning, you think like she's just a crazy woman, but you see that she is manipulating tensions between these brothers to get her revenge because ultimately she wants to wipe out that family, which she does in the end. I mean, spoiler alert, but it is like I think like you're this is a movie where you start to watch and you know like none of these characters are going to have good endings like in King Lear. Um, then you have a third story in this film, which is all about the futility of war. Like maybe war looks beautiful, but it's a terrifying beauty. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later. But first of all, did I like the film? I have to say, Kurosawa is my favorite director because he can make beautiful films like this, but and he can make like really brave artistic choices. But I don't like this film. I'd say that this is my least favorite Kurosawa film, but it's actually still really, really good and really interesting. So just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that you wouldn't like it, right? So check it out if you haven't. But why didn't I like it? So maybe let's talk about the positives, and then I'll deal with the negatives in a bit. So the first thing would be that it's very beautifully shot. So he used the ruins of an ancient castle, a volcanic area, also kind of like a historic castle that was kept preserved. So he was able to film on these like very accurate locations. And the battles that happen in the film are so beautifully and probably accurately shot. I would say this is probably the best looking and most accurate depiction of warfare, like maybe pre modern warfare, in film since Waterloo. So in Waterloo, you had huge Napoleonic armies clashing, and here you have clashes of these warlord clans. And he and his team took about 2 years to actually make the armor and everything that people are wearing, even minor characters in this film, and it looks so beautiful because he's not afraid of color. Like, this is probably Kurosawa's most colorful film, and the color is not just there as sort of like an artistic statement. The color is there because it was necessary at the time. So you have all of these clans that have banners that would identify them when they're in a battle, because when you're in a battle there's like lots of confusion and stuff, and you might get separated from your unit or division or whatever, and so people can see that, hey, this guy belongs to us and let's not shoot him, let's not kill him. So it makes a lot of sense, but it's also like such a strong contrast between how we we film these kind of pre-modern battles. I don't know where like, for me, maybe modern is World War One and after. So I don't know where actually the line would be, but so I was reviewing recently a film about Napoleon by Ridley Scott, and it looked like mud, like complete mud. The uniforms looked horrible. The battles looked fuzzy. It was really, really bad when you compare it to a film like Waterloo from 36 years ago now. 46 years ago, I guess. 56 years ago. 56 years ago. Oh my God. Yeah, so anyway, 56 years ago, they knew how to make a film. And in, I guess, 46 years ago, when this film was made, they also knew how to make a film look great with color. And I think like the lack of color is just a budget thing. But I think people can kind of justify it by saying, the past was gritty and dirty or whatever. I mean, yeah, sometimes, but also modern life is gritty and dirty, and you wouldn't make it that brown, right, if you were making a contemporary film. You just wouldn't. So it doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe it's because, camouflage was a thing that happened in the First World War, so people think like people were thinking that way before. And camouflage was, I mean, people used surprise attacks and there was guerrilla warfare and stuff, but there was still like this idea that you needed to see who to shoot at and who not. And so the color makes perfect sense, and it's accurate and it's beautiful, and the tactics of the battles are really well done, and just the cinematic rush of seeing like a cavalry charge, and it kind of makes sense why a cavalry charge would be devastating if you were just standing there with like a spear or something. You can see why this was a tactic that was used for thousands of years, whereas now it's not really something that people understand when they go see movies. So that's really good. And I would say the acting of the minor characters is really good and kind of natural. So, why didn't I like the movie? So, the movie kind of falters a little bit. Maybe not falters. It's an artistic choice that Kurosawa made. And because he made that, I kind of understand Japanese anime a little bit better. So, one thing that I've criticized in the past is this idea that you'll have like a character who speaks normally most of the time, and then he'll or she'll have this like outburst, like, she'll be like really, really emotional about something. And my question was like, I don't think Japanese people are like that, but maybe I'm wrong. But in this film, he chose to have the two main characters. So the warlord whose sons are ungrateful, and the wife who wants revenge. He chooses to have them like portrayed in a style which is connected to no drama. So in no drama, you have this sort of like there's long periods, I guess, this is what I was reading. There's long periods of quietness, and then the characters are there's like sudden emotional outbursts and stuff. So this is like a part of Japanese art and culture that has an influence on how they portray emotion in movies, in anime, and all of that stuff. And it's annoying, but then I kind of thought about it, and I'm sure there are things that date back to Shakespeare where, like in Anglo culture, when you see a movie, it's just how people are supposed to act, but actually it's this really artificial thing, and other cultures can point to it and say, "Oh, why are they acting like that?" I don't know what that is because it's kind of like the frog in the water. I don't know. I can't see it because, or the fish in the water. I can't see it because I'm in it, right? So I think that's an example of that. And this no kind of tradition is something that I'm not in, so I can see it very clearly. And I didn't like it because it's just too over the top and too much. Like, especially um, you know, like you have the old guy and he's got like this makeup and he is like having this scene where he's like, "Why do you pull me out of the grave?" And it's a very emotional scene, but he looks like a guy from a cheap he looks like the guy from the Kill Bill, the old ancient master guy. I forgot what his name was. But then that old ancient master is also connected probably to this no tradition of theater. But and the wife who wants revenge, she is like at level 500 all of the time. And there's a scene where basically she goes crazy on this guy and she's like, "I need this, I need this, I need this." And she's been talking like crazy cuckoo cocoa puffs for like 10 minutes. And then she's like, "Yes, let's have sex," basically. I mean, she doesn't say that, but she hints that. And then we cut away and then we cut back and they're like putting their clothes on. So clearly they had sex, but you think, how did that happen? How did that guy go like, yeah, my brother's wife is crazy. I'll sleep with her. So there's no kind of naturalistic kind of like I think in a Western movie, rightly or wrongly, there'd be some kind of flirtation connected to that, and I think that's the thing that would be highlighted is like, oh, they're attracted to each other, so that's why they're gonna do this thing. And in this movie, there's no attraction. She's just way over the top. She's like a banshee or something. So that's why I didn't like the movie. But I have to say that the movie my criticisms of the movie do not prevent it from being a really, really great movie. And I think even bad Kurosawa is still better than a lot of other directors. And when I say bad, it's not like technically bad. It's well acted, it's well written, it's well shot. Everything is great about the movie, except I found one artistic choice irritating. But the artistic choice makes sense for the movie, if that makes any sense. All right. What did you think? Did you like the movie? Did you dislike the movie? Let me know in the comments. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. I have, I think, 467 subscribers, and I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of March, so I think that is completely possible. If you're watching, so if you like what I do, please subscribe. It does help out the channel. And if you're listening on Spotify, please give me a follow so you know there'll be other episodes out there that you might be interested in. All right, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.